Oh, it's heating up in here. Oh, I can feel the sweat coming down my forehead. I just can't wait to see the final game, the grand final rematch. What?
No, we're good. It's gone. Can't talk about it, Mac. It's gone.
I'm going to have to watch that
Yeah,
in exactly
fixed.
2
We're good,
minutes. But we other people. You could have just put on a voice and pretended you were someone else.
I was you. I don't know if I could do that.
Oh, you could have tried. I remember Jordan, Elfish Guy, last split. He tried to do that. I think there was like one moment where he did a good job, and then every other point he just kept on doing weird things, and I was like, I don't know if I'd do that.
Your life flashes before you. Is this how people see me?
Yeah. Or is that how people see me, or am I just? Is that just really bad? Anyway, it was fun. He had the moustache on and stuff. Now, we do, of course, have to talk about this game. It's going to be an absolute banger. What we saw from Pentanet yesterday was absolute destruction. And I don't know if they can do that again today because they're up against Peace, who have a pretty stellar lineup themselves, Rusty.
Yeah, they definitely do. And what we saw from Peace yesterday was nothing short of exceptional. Caveat, of course, Peace in their game yesterday, while it was a convincing victory, was against Mammoth Esports Club. And so in terms of caliber, this is going to be a very different beast today. And I think this is the first real test. Are Peace a contender this early into the split, or do they still have a long way to go? And will PGG humble them? Keeping in mind, of course, PGG haven't been scrimming for too long. But yesterday it was clean. It was TN putting on a clinic top lane, right? This is an Akali that got put in the bin by his gangplank. Lisa's ganks were fantastic. Their draft was great. It was really hard to actually find a fault overall. Besides, I believe it was Chaeyoung getting caught, mispositioning once or twice, those smaller details. But they got the LPL style. They hit the LPL team fights. You can't fault Peace from yesterday.
Yeah, that was the game where I saw Tron go for the Tankali, and it was my first time seeing Tankali, but he only got to one item because they just got essentially put in the bin. It was just that much of a gap. But then we got to see it later as well, so it was interesting. Now, Tian, that man, he is absolutely insane, and I'm sure he's going to be playing another big game today. But, of course, we've got to talk about Pentanet because these boys, oh my, they had a day at the races yesterday, didn't they, Skimmy?
They certainly did, and now they've unlocked the photos, so they really are a team to be feared. I saw a video before, the gaming house they're working out of. Fantastic views, and they also get great views in game. It says victory a lot, so they'll be happy about that one. I did actually get told by Winston on social media not to hype up Freydif, so I have said that, he's probably just woken up, had some Fruit Loops. He's probably just figuring out what time of day it is, and maybe it's scrim o'clock, so hey, we're going to get to see what those guys can do. But yeah, absolutely, yesterday, really, really strong showing. Winter has said, look, this is what I can do. Weak side, I can just chuck out a few casts and snag away a few kills. But the big story had to be those 2 Korean imports. Welcome to Australia. You pass border control straight into the Rift. And between the two of you, you've picked up 15 kills and only 2 deaths. It was an absolute stomp.
Yeah, it was the Vulcan and Yuri show. They were just smashing it straight through everyone in those team fights. And I feel like Trend has to just be like an insta-ban up against Pentanet until some kind of nerf or some kind of changes come through, because that performance yesterday was ridiculous. Vulcan as well there on the Diana. You don't want to give him any kind of carry chance, so there's not going to be enough bans to really stop Pentanet from having what they could bring to the table. But of course, I feel like with Peace, look, they're a higher caliber roster than what Mammoth was yesterday, so they're going to have a chance today, aren't they, Rusty?
Yeah, I will say the major difference between yesterday and today is Winterer was playing really well, to be fair.
True.
We talk about Balkan, we talk about Yuri. Winterer had a fantastic game. Pabu even said in his interview, if you were listening earlier today, that he is the player to watch. He is the one that might surprise you all with how good he actually is. And he's got the team to do that this year around. But Tian is a monster, right? Tian is a carry player. And for me, we could call this the challenge for Peace to go up against a good roster. This is the challenge for Winterer to go up against a good top laner, and we have to see him deliver.
Very true, and I guess it's a good testing ground. Now, you said something about interviews, and someone that I know loves interviews is Kitty, so let's bring her back into the desk. Kitty, I heard you've got a spicy interview for us down on the side lanes.
Yeah, so I've grabbed Api and Praetus from the 2 Titan orgs from last year. Welcome back to the LCO, guys.
Thank you. Hi, thank you.
Okay, well, starting off with Api. So you had a very strong performance on Renekton last night. What adjustments did you make to role swap?
I think it's not big difference between like both top like both solo lanes. So if and also I really want to play with Dean like over top laner. So I was like, if I rest swap, I can be a really good mid laner, so we can play together. That's just what I thought.
I mean, backed up from last night's performance, you did great. But speaking of the enemy team's mid laner, Yuri and Belkan, they had a crazy performance. Do you think Peace has what it takes to take down PGG this year?
Yeah, definitely. But everything is like pretty new in our team, so we just need to take time because it's all about the playoffs.
Yeah, time is definitely key in a competition. So, moving on to Pradith. Seeing that you started off 0-3 in last night's match, any advice from my solo queue teammates on how to get carried?
I think this question's a bit better suited for Arfi since he got carried by his bot lane the whole of last year. But I was pretty happy with my laning phase yesterday. I think. Laning phase was good, and I just got bored and I started running it down, and it's okay because my teammates got my back. So it's good to know that if I can have a bad game, we can still win in 20 minutes. That's good.
I'm also excited for PGG releasing more of those tweet montages. So, what are we gonna see any similar rivalries compared to the Peace PGG rivalry again this year?
I hope I can start a rivalry with Cheese that aren't just a bunch of subtweets, and they can get a bit more creative with their banter and stuff. So I hope Cheese can actually perform and then actually be interesting with their banter. And other teams, I mean, anyone wants to banter with us, I'm here. So if anyone wants to start a rivalry, feel free. I think like a lot of the AD carries have an ego right now, so like they need to be stepped down a peg and get put in their place. So I'll be here for that as well.
At PGG, at Pradith, banter with him right now. Well, thank you for the interview, guys, and best of luck in your match. Let's throw it back to Mac. Bye, guys.
I love the second when Kitty hits him with oh, you're getting carried, and he's just like, hang on a minute.
Is this permission to be?
I'm processing a clapback. How do I get back in this one?
Yeah, that one. That question was for Appy, right? Yeah, he had he had terrible last year. Yeah, they only went to Worlds. It's all right. Now, I'm sure Mark, he's going to have a good split on socials and probably in the Rift. We did tout him as one of the top ADCs in the region, even though we got told not to raise his ego anymore. He did mention he needs to bring down the egos of a couple of other individuals in the league. So maybe names will be named throughout the split. Who knows? We love a bit of drama here on the LCO. But we also love predictions. I don't know if this one's going to be split or if everyone's sort of gone with what should be seen as probably one of the super teams after yesterday. But again, there you go. All right, so all on the same page with the PGG picks. Skimmy, tell me what.
Yeah, I just think across the board, I mean, this is once again us picking before we saw the performance yesterday, but I just think PGG have retained a little bit more strength, right? More synergies, more game time, more experience, more upper level caliber. So I think consistency across the board. I really like the point that Rusty mentioned about the top lane challenge that Winter is going to face, but I think doesn't necessarily have to be the star of the show. He's got the rest of his team that can certainly rise to the occasion when called upon.
Yeah, what about you, Rusty? Thoughts?
Yeah, I do feel like in this instance, if Peace were going to win, it probably would be by finding a top gap and trying to get some leads through the rest of the map as a result of this. We've already seen what Tan's capable of doing. And we also know that Lisa is a really good carry jungler that just never really had that chance last year, of course, because he had an absolute monster AD to play around. So I'd like to see the top and jungle kind of work together to get that, but so hard to do against the caliber of player that is on Pentanet.gg, so I'm obviously going to be siding with them.
Okay, and Kitty, sorry, I just saw everyone cracking up. Kitty, where do you think the gap's going to be between PGG and Peace?
So obviously, Tian coming back from NA is going to make a huge difference, perhaps in the top lane, maybe a bit of a top gap. But after seeing Yuri and Balkan's duo from last night, I'm still shocked at how good they are. They're just built different, so I'm expecting a PGG win.
Okay, so built different PGG. Smack that on the back of the jerseys. And it could be true. I'm keen to see what is going to happen down in that bot lane. I'm keen to see what Praedyth can do and if he can back up those words. And we're not going to be waiting any longer to see that because Champ Select is ready. Let's get into it.
Let's definitely get into it because this was the match of 2021. One team went to MSI, the other went to Worlds. They did it back-to-back in both grand finals. And now they say new names, new rosters, same organizations. What's this year look like?
Right, so as we get into these bans, already 3 done from the PGG side. The Thresh is going to be target banned away. Caitlyn going to be removed. That's the AD carry. We almost don't need to mention Caitlyn being banned anymore. She is just too prolific. Viego very specifically banned away as well.
Yeah.
Now, this is an interesting first pick simply because Jinx exists. So instead of going straight for the Jinx composition, they have said, we're going for the Jhin. Perhaps this is Praedyth being put into the sin bin. He's been time out in the naughty corner for having a bit of an int yesterday. And now he's on Jhin duty for a little bit. Play the support AD carry, let Rogue roam the map. But it also enables hook champions from Rogue, something like a Nautilus or like an aggressive Leona even if they wanted. Still well and truly in the wheelhouse for PGG. So I do think Jhin is kind of a champion they would play anyway.
Yeah, certainly one of his strong points as well, right? But one thing that we do know for certain, the mid-jungle duo of Pentanet from yesterday with that Diana and that Tryndamere has been denied. So they're going to show us something a little bit different this time around. But we do have a lot of big damage right out the gates here from Peace. 2 carries locked in with the Jinx and the Corki. They've set the standard that if you don't punish us early, then we are going to put you in a position where you just get outranged.
I was expecting the potential of like a Renekton Nidalee in response, even though this is just hovering things that Peace played. You see the Corki, you see the Jinx locked in. You're looking for things that have longer range. So now that we've got a Nidalee and a Jhin locked in, you don't really want to play Jace top lane. You kind of have to play Renekton. But there's the possibility of a flexible Renekton with the Jace mid or top as well, and suddenly you've actually got a poke composition. Alternatively, you can play something that has crowd control and set up like a LeBlanc, etc., in mid lane for the Nidalee as well. And then you go hard out into a pick composition with the Nautilus support. So PGG have been, it's a little bit inflexible, but it has a lot of options still there.
The one flex that keeps me guessing, right, is this Renekton. You could ask, you know, is this going towards Winter to give him a strong side to play on, try and answer the call in towards Tien, who's most likely going to be going a carry, you'd have to imagine. Or will it be Yuri? Because Yuri is very, very flexible. His playstyle I would characterize as being a lane bully himself too. Plays the AP, ADs, the Bruces, whatever you want. He'll fit the bill. So you have to start guessing. There is the Nautilus ban as you wanted. And that should make life a little bit easier for this Jinx and Lulu to navigate.
Yeah, just wondering where they'll go after this for the support role, because there is still plenty of support champions, but perhaps not to fit the bill of like a pick type of composition. Pyke is a little bit of a reach. Braum is one of those champions that works decent with the champions that you've got locked in already, but it's a Braum, so usually just a no. I was looking at the way that PGG is going to be playing this out. You've got an AP mid laner, so physical junglers are the most likely place to go. And because you've got no mobility there through your AD carry, it depends on what you're looking at for mid. It could be a Jarvan ban to really limit the jungle champion pool. We'll see where they go.
Ooh, Rakan going to be denied away. Another champion that's, you would say, on the outskirts of being locked in here. Too many good champions ahead of it right now when you think about, what, Nautilus, Leona, as well as Fresh, but certainly a consideration, given that Pentanet want to go forward with this Nidalee as well as that Renekton.
I'm not going to say it, but there is an angle for support champions. I think we know where that is. It's also a Leona, possibly just going to be there for a tank for a frontline option for them. It's also really good crowd control setup.
Haha! There's the GP ban. Tien can't have that one today. I wonder what that means he plays instead, though, because he is a fan of a fair few options. The Lee Sin is being hovered. This is Lisa's most played, 16 games in his career, a fair margin between that and his second. So when you deny away some of the champions like the Zen as well as the Viego, which he's played a lot, especially last split too, then Lee Sin seems to be the option instead.
So Rel is definitely a real hover here, could still be locked in, provides a lot for what the team realistically is after as well. It's similar to Leona in some respects. I would say has a pretty cool laning phase interaction that you can be pretty aggressive against players, enchanters like the Lulu if you play it correctly. Just rounding out their composition, we don't know if that's a flexible Renekton. We know the Trindamir's gone. So it could just be a control mage or an assassin, a physical damage dealer in mid lane to compensate for the Nidalee. So that's where they're going to go. I like it.
It's worth noting quietly as well, Rusty, this rel that we have not seen much of right now. Rogue played a whole bunch of it in the LFL in France last year. He was spamming that and Alistair a fair bit. So something unique to himself. He knows that their fresh is going to be banned away a whole bunch. And in Peace say it could have been spicy, but it will instead be a little bit stale.
There was such a Riven angle there, Skimmy. There really was a Riven angle for TN.
Surely.
A carry champion, listen, it was on the cards. They've chosen to go for the Gragas. I think they've just said to themselves, and it makes sense, right, as a draft overall. Jinx Corki is your bot laner and your mid laner. You're probably not going to play towards top. You're probably going to play towards the cards that you've been dealt as the carries that you've chosen. Jinx and Corki are insane, right? Lulu's an enchanter that's designed to keep them alive. So now you've got a Lee Sin and a Gragas, whose purpose by design as their composition now for Peace is disengage, right? They've got pick potential with the cast with the Lee Sin kick, but primarily as fights start to break out, they're able to kick carries away or cast carries away, and a Jinx and a Corki will start to outrange. Yep. Very similar to, I believe it was the Chiefs game from yesterday, as a response, right? So it's a slow bleed out, hit the correct poke, look for objectives with these champions with packages. For PGG, it's aggressive, skirmish-focused League of Legends with an incredibly dangerous early game across the board.
And I think you've hit the nail on the head, really, for Peace, right? You've got 4 big main threat carries that are coming towards you. Just disengage, buy time, hit that all-elusive level 16 when it's pretty much GG. You talk about scaling, and that is one that might just, in fact, be better than the Kayle and the Kassadin. Here we go, though. Volkan and Yuri, they've got themselves a very aggressive duo once again. And we'll get to see what Winter can do when asked upon to find some early aggression into his biggest challenge to date so far, taking on Tien here topside, who will also be quite curious as to what build he goes. We've seen a few, the Chem Tank for the Grasp, or the Everfrost variant instead. Buy time, outrange, out-survive. It's a big game here, and it is worth noting that this was the biggest of them all last year. Their series total actually stands right now with Pentanet across 8 games and 8 occasions facing Peace. They've won 6 of them. Definitely skewed in their favor. Can they start this year off all the same?
Certainly a big ask for both teams to start it off the exact same, Skimmy, but we'll see exactly how they go as we do hop into the game. No O's pauses this time around. Let's go.
Well, it's that time again. It's a chance to talk to Os Heritage, a coach that needs no introduction, that does lead the line for Peace. Some would call him Draft Lord, others would call him Mid Lord. Welcome back to the show, mate.
Hi guys, long time no see.
Long time no see. I hope the off-season has been kind to you there. Quick question to get your thoughts. You're the reigning LCO champion, so how do you plan to defend that title?
Yeah, just step by step. We should beat every enemy first, and then we can make our decision for how make her better and find a own solution for us to against anyone.
Take it one game at a time. I'm really excited for this one. It's a fierce rival of yours of last year. I wish you guys the best of luck. I'm going to crack on with this game. Thank you, Midlord.
Thank you.
Here we go, Rusty. It's time to shine.
Too easy there from the draft hands himself, right? It's always good to hear from him. Looking at the Draft Lord's draft this time as well, Skimmy, I think he's got a pretty good composition for himself. Not the straightforward Malphite ultimates that you get from some teams. The ease of execution isn't always going to be that simple, but their comp can be just overwhelming with poke and with range. Very hard to deal with. The Renekton could scale off in that respect. So again, a big test for Winter. However, his matchup is Renekton into Gragas, so it is not the carry that I was hoping for. It is not the carry that we'll get. We'll see how Tien goes in the role, however. Because again, Gragas, when piloted by steady hands, is a completely different champion to bad hands.
It's always exciting when you have a few select champs that can really swing the balance based on, division or personal preference towards your playstyle, be it aggressive, be it weak side, top side, whatever it might be. We're going to see how TM pilots it here today. It is the champion that has found ever so much favor right now. But we will put our attention now here towards Balkan. He's got the red buff. He's popping towards top side. In goes Rogue, looking to dismount, locking him in place. And force Praetor to get exhausted here, looking for that fourth and final shot. Holds his tongue and holds his nerve. Going to utilize it on Cheon, who wasn't the one that slows. The execute damage isn't there. Sidesteps that. The zap will not connect, but a flash has to be burnt.
Yeah, well, the return on investment there is so good for Peace. The thing with Rel, when it comes to skirmishing, particularly super early in the game, is if your opponents can actually survive through the stun combo, they're probably just going to be more useful than you. You walk at like 250 movement speed. You literally limp away from fights that you could consider a mistake. And Summoner Spells being burned by PGG in response to their attempt to engage. 2 Summoner Spells in advantage, I might add as well. 4 pieces as a result of that is huge for how that laning phase is going to go.
To see what the aftermath of that all means. If that stems the aggression, if that means that Rogue is just going to leave him in place and go for rotations elsewhere to help get the rest of his team online. Here comes Balkan, looking for some counter jungling. The camp is going to be gone, but it's a very deep ward and all-important vision. Keep tabs on where this Lee Sin is at any given moment, and most importantly, allow Winter with this champion to continue to be so aggressive.
Yeah, it's a really nice ward from Balkan. Just frankly force spotting the second spawn of the Krug camps. It helps with timings if you're that good at jungling. And the pressure alleviation for Winter is crucial. Rogue level 2, by the way, looking mid lane. Surely not doing anything other than taking the cannon for level 3. He's not even 3, my god, he's so far behind experience. By the way, the trade that I really like in bottom if you do Glacial Augment Rel is if you start dismounted, when you remount, you can actually pull them back into your stun. They're on the Glacial Shroud. And it means you've also got the movement speed to disengage from like the Lulu or the Jinx. The issue with that is, of course, that trade pattern has to happen from a bush normally to be able to make it work. Rogue was sitting under turret, so he didn't really get much of a choice there.
Yeah. He's finally going to hit level 3, though. Balkan will be spotted out.
Oh.
And a flash forward happens to try and crash down and lock down a key member. Not going to find it. Chang will respect it, and he'll burn his own flash. The time bought, and no real panic from Lisa, who's quite content. They have spotted him, however, PGG, but quite content just to continue farming.
Yeah, and they knew that Balkan was there, right? The ward in the river very clearly spots where that Nidalee was. And if you were PGG, you're pretty happy with the outcome of a support using Flash for an AD carry, especially when you're Rel with Hex Flash. So that's a pretty major win for PGG overall, and that was a play made on Vision, so you can't ask for much more as a trade goes. Very happy with the outcome of that one.
And if this was to be a game where they say, Fred, if you've been relegated to play the Jhin and chill out a little bit more, let the rest of the team do the heavy lifting, they've certainly put a big emphasis on trying to get this ahead so far.
Lisa saw that. I don't think Lisa saw the ward that just got placed by the way that he was pulling the dragon out.
TP.
He teleports mid, and Balkan had already pinged on my way, so there is a clear intent that he might try and steal it.
Has flash. Easy going to
Rel's
go
in.
for this one right now. Into Cougar. Smite stolen! That's theirs. PGG get the first Drake in this exchange. The ult comes out from Yuri, misses everybody. Beautiful sidestep here from Peace. But does it really matter? They've got a Drake and they've got a first blood. Balkan's not content just yet though, Rusty. So much so that an exhaust has to be shown his way.
And they're able to get out really with just the kill. You're going to have a trade with Appy in mid lane also. McCorky not exactly the most comfortable trader into a Yone, but the ultimate was used, the flash was used. We'll see this fight again, and it's just really the initiative being taken by PGG from good vision place, an extremely early ward, and good timing from them as well to make that happen. We look back mid, and Appy is okay, but he had to flash away from Wintra. And the rest of that fight really was just successful for PGG, and that is because they knew they wanted to fight, right? You've got Belcard, as per what Rogue said yesterday, Skimmy. He pings on my way. I don't know what's happening. It's chaos, but I trust him, and it always works.
And it certainly worked on that occasion, didn't it? You steal away a Drake and a skirmish in your favor too. And also, the pressure that was coming out has resulted in a lot of flashes being burnt on either side of the rift. So, may now be the calm before the storm. But there is a Herald up in 30.
And of course, with this Herald, you have to start looking towards map flips. The most optimal teleport time for most people is around the time that Herald spawns, because then your teleport becomes unleashed when it is off cooldown. We've got Tien with teleport in hand, so might consider the reset, though he has, I think, a decent amount of money spent already. And map flips from 80 carries and supports is always the thing to look towards. Lulu's already moved up towards that side of the map. You've got Rel now running up bot river towards mid. And a timely recall, because I believe the first package of the game is around 8 minutes off the top of my head.
Got it.
Always times nicely for a Herald fight. Corki kind of broken for just timing.
Pretty broken for objective control in general. We'll get to see how Peace can set up for this one. Lisa was able to get himself into the river, the guaranteed that top crab. But it is PGG that start things off here. They've got the control ward in the pit.
That's
Now,
a level
Appy.
4 Rel, and that's a Corki with a package. You've got to be so careful.
Oh, for sure. For sure. But I think we asked the question, right, given the fact that, you know, the bot lane, well, those two all-ins that we've seen bot lane haven't truly worked out.
Jinx is here now.
Would he just roam? He's going to go for it. Balkan picks it up. Yuri left to his own. His fate was sealed. He will fall on down. Now Winter pops the Dominus looking for the fight right here. Jumps on through, finds the stun target and takes them down. Appy is dead and Praetor secures it.
Yeah, I mean, that curtain call just proves to be a little bit too much. You've also got the empowered recall there from Balkan with the Rift Turret he picked up. So while he limps away with 1 health, will be perfectly fine and gets himself back to safety. That was a very tense little moment of skirmishes. Yuri sitting on a flank, I think really wanted to commit to the flank angle. But realistically, it's a Corki with a package, right? So a Sonic Wave hits, you're just done for. And we'll see this again, because it's a sweeper from Beats that reveals he's there in the first place. It's not a ward in the bush. Yuri has to respect, but there's no way out at that point. You're already within sweeper range. Winterer, Rogue, they see their opportunity, they come in. Yes, they've lost their mid laner, but it's a free angle from Praetor as well with that curtain call, and numbers just prove a little bit too strong. Though it was a 1-for-1, it was a Herald as well.
That'll be enough for them to explode this map into action, to get that big lead they need to try and snowball and to buy themselves a strong stance before we really bring up the conversation of has you know, the Corki and Jinx reached that break point of no return, because that is the concern, that is the growing ticking time bomb you're always keeping tabs on. As you can see, the front three right now in terms of gold is all PGG. As a fan of their team, you're hoping it stays that way.
Yeah, for sure you are. Tien, just to check in quickly on top lane, has a pretty stable lane for the moment. Eyes on Balkan and a Renekton stun.
Here we go though. Ah, he could not get the stun. Locked in place. Nicely played there by Tien to flash away. Will the dive continue? Will the Herald Force really come on through? That is the question.
Oh, the ultimate.
I'm actually going to look for the dive. One turret shot taken. It's just a little bit too easy. The cast coming out a little bit too late. I don't know if he was going to survive anyway. Too much burn in that prior exchange. And that's a big swing in favor here for Winterer.
Yeah, listen, it's not a fun time to play against Renekton Italy in any sense of it. It's, I mean, an AP jungler, or at least it's the exact same. Renekton just provides a little bit too much, and you could see the trade-off is just going to be a Drake on the opposite side, but that's an entire turret, and because you've got the first Drake of the game, Skim, you would say every day of the week that is a huge trade in your favor, just simply because you get the monetary value and there's no threat of a soul. In saying that, the fact that a Jinx ultimate literally just cancelled Praetor from recalling is really huge. There was a chance I think they could have pushed for plates there, even threatened Praetor on the dive before the team came down, but they want the tempo, they want the reset above all else.
Looks like they'll be able to pick up at least one plate for their efforts to deny him from the reset. Rogue is here to back him up once again. And they can look to step up a little bit more aggressively as a result. When the dust settles, 12 minutes in, it's a 3k gold lead. Oh, fate sealed again! Very, very close to connecting there with Appy. He trusted himself not to burn the flash. And a basic ability really nullifies it all.
Yeah, I mean, it is just as simple as using the W. You'll be happy with that one if you are happy. That's just so close to being the same word, it threw me. But Yuri just using the ultimate, really, right? It's not a massive expenditure. It's a fairly low cooldown. You can see it's already a quarter of the way back. And those look-ins, those moments, if you don't play perfect, if you're happy, if you have to blow the flash, then it's really bad the next time, and they will come back. So it's that killer instinct. I think more than anything else, Belkan is so good at recognizing how to get himself a lead, and then how to turn his lead into kills that it's extremely dangerous. Now, this is a packaged Corki with no objective on the map. A minute 45 until the next objective spawns. There is a strategic value, Skimmy, in never grabbing the package.
Agree, yeah.
But I think, and I guess because it's 13 minutes in the game, you can grab the package, wait till Unleash Teleport and use that instead. It just means that your next strength at that objective is going to be weaker.
The timing's a little bit awkward, as you say. It's only going to last for 60 seconds, so it's going to be used in some fashion, whether that be a rotate, a prevented gank, which could be on the cards here.
Yeah, so it's a waste, right? Like, it saves him from a gank, but he's positioned aggressively just because he has the package. All that got him was mid for an extra 3 CS.
Hang on a minute here. Jayon in trouble. Beats can just play goalkeeper and shield him from all that pain. Lisa's in the area as well. If anything were to go crazy, might be the case, because PGG are mounting their own kind of aggression. Willing to take any risk at this stage. No need to.
Really calm and measured there again, though, from Peace. They're super on point with just disengaging, with just playing calm. And I think it's important for us to reiterate at this point, while we have been discussing the obvious fact that PGG are starting to run away with this game, right? Generate some pretty solid leads across the board, that you've got a Jinx and a Corki on the other side. So 3,000 gold, maybe that isn't enough to actually, you know, secure the lead once those 2 items are there for a Jinx and a Corki. You probably want that to accelerate a little bit more at this point. I mean, geez, that's a free way to do it, huh?
Oh, no.
Oh, no, he's missed it.
Oh, no! 2 negatives cancel to make a positive? Or is it a triple oh no? Here we go.
Oh, that was a freebie.
Oh, that hurts to see.
Appy literally wiggles his Corgi butt millimeters away. And the spear misses. Oh, you hate to see it.
Oh, he's just gotten away with it. Should have been daylight murder. Rest of his team, though, knowing exactly where PGG are. Quite handily, just walk into the river and pick up the second Herald of this game.
Easy objective secure. Depends if the GG is still going to be playing towards the bot side. They're playing towards their Renekton. However, it is a threat, I suppose, of a dive on the Corki. And that's the thing, like, lane assignment-wise, because of that teleport from Penson@GG, it's Winter against Appy. That's kind of just how the dust settled. They've had to walk the long way to reset their lane assignments properly. So Corki finally gets to the top where he's protected. And Tien goes to bot lane where he is absolutely not protected, but he's closer to the objective. So that's the question that I have now, Skimmy, is yes, it's a safe space for Corki to be top lane. He will get solo experience, get those levels, get those items. It's what he needs. We're looking at another free Drake to go the way of PGG if they do nothing about it. Do they just give it? It's certainly possible they do.
Begs the question, what is their priority? Are they looking to try and get at least 2 turrets out of this one as a bark back? But no, PGG aren't willing to give up anything. No freebies, at least. Winter will be escorted back to this top side to trim that wave, to take it back and to assume control of the mid wave once more. Dragon is that invitation, as you highlight. The third of the game.
Yeah, and it will just be free. But again, I guess we did mention this at the last Drake. It is only the second of the game by securing this one. So it's nice to get, but it's not going to be just objectively game-winning. This was kind of the inevitable reply that you would see from Peace of the second. The Herald, rather the Drake is confirmed. The Herald will get summoned. There's no way to stop this one crashing. So it is going to be money into the pockets of Appy. All of the carrying belongs to the Jinx and the Corki. All of the eggs are in their basket. I think that's what we're seeing right now, and then we're hoping that it gets to that teamfight execution stage if you're a Peace fan. You've got the Lulu for it, you've got the comp to do it 100%. How do you deal with the absolute menace running around looking for spears left, right, and center, just constantly being proactive? You have to be vigilant. No errors allowed.
And it feels like we return to that conversation as to what is too much of a gold lead for your opposition to possess before you can realize your true potential as a Corki Jinx pairing. Because right now, they're down close to 4k gold. PGG have executed their game plan, played their style, and aren't slowing down anytime soon. But there's still a whole bunch of levels to be found here.
Just as an aside as well, Yone, very good split pusher as he starts to get items, and I don't think there's any world Gragas contests that.
Okay.
And I don't think Corki wants to be stuck in a side lane either, so I think PGG still have options. So still a big fan of their draft, still really like what they've done.
Yuri on the hunt. Hits him with the emote of last year and says, that could be me this time. But it starts with this game here. Will Praetor get caught? That is the question. He's got flash. Rogue's in the area. That dissuades any attempt that Lisa and Beats were cooking up.
Praetor does have a unique ability to get caught. Skippy, he does. It's in his blood. So we're not allowed to compliment him. If we want to be neutral parties, complimenting him actually gets him killed. That's what we learned.
Too much power. Look at these side lanes though, quietly. Huge squeeze here from PGG.
Yeah, 3 lanes of pressure and good vision of the enemy red side quadrant. I mean, spears are a lot easier to hit when you're clearing vision. It means the threat of an engage from a Rel from Fog of War is going to be quite nasty. Early Baron vision seems to be what they're trying to pick the Lulu and the Lee Sin off for. And I guess at this point, because they have committed to Yuri being bot, it's not a teleport thing. It's clearly saying we want all of the resources in the split push to go towards our Yone, because that's a genuine angle for victory.
Something is. Been a hot minute since we actually saw one. Always exciting when you have a player which has that style of play ready to showcase. Very mechanically demanding.
Yeah, it'd be good to see a non-0-6 split pusher skimmy, that's for certain.
That's it.
See exactly what it can provide, especially when the resources are there for it. 2-0 Nidalee though. And Praetor not 0 and 3 definitely has a lot of damage to put out in this game. Fight for the blue buff certainly possible.
Oh, can't secure it. That's his. In comes the TP deep and keen to find a fight. So not really getting the target. Not willing to risk it just yet.
Lisa wins the game with Chicken also didn't have a ward placed, but they don't force him to use it. He's just able to walk away when stuck in the blue buff pocket. Threatening the mid dive, however, should just be an outer turret secured unless Peace staunch them off it. Ooh.
And look at the work that PGD are doing though, preventing the easy rotate from bot to mid. 3 members cutting off Tien's entrance there.
We've really slowed down.
Really are guaranteeing that this Drake is going to be theirs.
Okay, we've timed our package for the Dragon this time around. So we've got a genuine point of strength. We've also got our second item completed here for Appy. The Ludens is done. That is going to be a big Corki if the large rockets do hit carries. 2 items across the board, however, for a lot of the carries here. So there is a whole lot of damage.
Yeah, he hasn't had the delay his build this time to go for a Hex Drinker, so a bit of a quicker spike for him. Rank 2 on those rockets. They're going to start to really pack a punch. PGG slightly being pushed out.
They've given it up. They want to... It's either pressure for Baron or it is just top control. They've completely ceded the Drake. So I think that was acknowledgement from Peace that this stalemate that exists in mid will be happening for a minute. So the Corki package is going to provide nothing. We're going to take the blue buff. We're going to take the Gromp. He's going to show himself right now, so the Dragon is 100% confirmed, and it's just going to be more farm into the hands of Peace. They are drawing this game out as long as possible to have as much gold, as many items as possible on their carries to win that one big team fight, right? Because that is all it takes with the Corki Jinx.
We just hit level 14. He's got the most gold in the game, and it wasn't real, any major threat for the soul point. That'll be enough time by 5 minutes to get that soul and to hit level 16, which is what they really, really need. But how much do they lose in the meantime? Great Gale Force away to prevent the insect. Rogue might be the one that falls on down for it, locks them in place. Praetor for Batic, that fall from final shot, but just getting right-clicked and zapped and ultied.
And Winter are half health as well. Chaeyoung goes huge. The kick from Lisa is massive. Teleports are coming in from Tian as well. Baron is the play for Peace. And you think it starts off well with Balkan making the picks, right, getting Tian low. They forced a flash from the Gragas. Flash back to mid lane. Suddenly it's Peace doing the exact same thing.
Here we go.
And old mate Mark Lewis finds the angle to get picked off. Balkan looking for a steal, but it's so easy to body him out.
Such a delicate balance now, isn't it, Rusty? 2k gold lead, soon to be free. It's getting closer and closer to Peace, buying enough time to try and get this game. If they can get this Baron, that slows down the tempo. Failed seed onto a random Jinx. Yuri looking for the one shot. Oh no! He didn't have it.
Doesn't
The
have
unbound soul, the rip back damage was not enough.
Yeah, it's a competitive Yone. It's a teleport Yone. It's not the ignite. That is literally the difference in health. We'll see this play again because it's Rogue dying. Praetor's mistake is trying to help. Balkan's on a flank as well, so they're thinking in their mind there's a chance, but resets come through from Jinx. That's it, right? Too excited, too many items on board, and there's no way that you could 1v1, unless you're Frost, apparently, that you can 1v1 a Jinx as a Jhin. Especially not with a Lulu in the back pocket, still with exhaust in hand, so just trying a little bit too hard to do too much there. You've made the mistake, you've flashed away, accept that your support is dead, and move away at a fast pace.
Yeah, I think Frost Jin's a little bit different. I think he's playing TFT. He's turned into an assassin rather than an AD carry. Oh, explosive cast goes out, but more so a helping hand to help him disengage. Back to mid lane we go. And really, the biggest benefactor right now is Appy. Back to the bot lane he goes to work on his first turret. Level 15. And those two that we were so terrified of seeing scale up into Oblivion, they now lead the line for the most gold in the game.
Yeah, they are well and truly on the way. Appy in particular, you can see him farming bottom lane right now. He's getting closer and closer to level 16. Highest level in the game by an entire level, basically. Once he hits that breakpoint, big rockets, left, right, good night. To the side of PGG dealing with this one. And the Baron push, very good at enabling them. At the very least, buying time for this scaling to happen.
Yeah.
And it is a case of one more mistake from PGG, the game could end. So they have to step up to the plate pretty big here if they want to win on the back foot.
Peace for the first time this game. Take the gold lead. Ultimate. It's just a parting on the sea there. Goes right down the middle. And no harm, no foul. Trying a fair bit of map pressure. Taking a lot of turrets for it.
Minute 20 till Soul is there potentially for Penten at the GG as well. If Peace continue to retain control of the map scheme here, it's going to be a very long time until we see a Soul confirmed. So it's just going to be a lot of little baby Drakes taken down. They're all just pathetic little cloud ones as well. Movement speed, of course, is invaluable, but it's going to be quite a while till we get some Drake of use with the Soul being confirmed. Depends on how PGG play the next 30 seconds. You can see the fact that Nidalee is deployed to the top side of the map, probably placing a ward for a Yone teleport. I think that's the play.
No one here to back him up. There's a TP coming in from PGG to make this an unfair fight, make it a 3v1. There's a deep teleport to now back him up. Switian's running too. He has a flash. Doesn't need to burn it. Burn the explosive cast. In comes the package. The Super Mega Death Rocket comes in the middle of the top river. Big fight, breaking them all together as the rail locks them in place for the AoE clapback. Can Yuri do anything? He has no ultimate. He's been exhausted. He's gone. PGG are running. Lisa's found a double. He's going to confirm a triple in just a second. I guarantee. Forget about the minion wave. You can swing that axe around, but Winter is surely going to fall on down. No. The dice at the end, and they're disengaged too, but Peace, the resilience to bring it to 27 minutes, and game plan online.
Nah, but listen, Appy and Tiana clean with it in that skirmish as well. Numbers disadvantage, the package is monstrous, the body slam, he saves it and it hits multiple people. I'm looking forward to seeing that one. Praetor is going to give a love tap to Lisa, who is just going to walk away. Drake is up, which is the main point of all of this damage. And I don't know if we'll get a chance to think, I don't know if we'll get to see the entire replay, but we'll watch how it starts. Every time Belkan pounces, he will find a body slam into the face. Denies the bonus Q damage from coming out by stun locking him. This is the package that effectively wins the fight. It bottlenecks them. Jinxol, Big Rocket, nowhere to go for the side of PGG. They are just locked into a corner and completely picked apart. Huge team fighting for the Way of Peace. And Chaeyoung was so close to getting those resets. He was so close to getting excited, actually just locking them all down, but just a little bit off.
Worrying times now for PGG. They cannot confirm a team fight win, and they cannot guarantee the Cloud Soul either. Peace picked that one up in the aftermath of things. Level 16, I've been saying it all game long. It's there, it's here. Appy has it. And this Baron in a minute may just be the scariest thing to ever worry about now, because that's potentially a case of getting the Baron and ending the game.
If you think back to yesterday's Chiefs game with the Corki that was there, the enemy support was an Alistar, right? And oftentimes the way that the game was played out through these skirmishes is that it was Tally that was harassing Corporal, right? The Alistar was being harassed by the Corki. Very similar thing this time around. You've got a massive Corki. He is harassing what is a level 9 Rel. Just base HP from levels is non-existent. It's a glacial rel as well, and if you commit to using your W for the shield to stop the damage, you don't exist as a champion. So it's kind of free real estate for Peace at this point. And once again, I think we find ourselves at this situation, and you've kind of seen it through the way they've played already, of split pushing is your way to win. And Renekton is splitting.
As a result, the 4-mana PGG have to sacrifice any kind of control of this lane. Give it up, allow Peace themselves to place down the vision. Predator just has to cop that, and there is no clapback this time. You can say it in the interview, but you can't deliver in the game right yet. Baron is here. And at this rate, you can see why this Corki is to be fed. He might just two-tap Rogue. Rogue is out the fight. He's their biggest initiate. They need him for the Magnustorm. He's going to go in and look for it now. Lock them all in place. They're all joined together. The fight breaks out. And what can PGG find? It's a 1-for-1 trade so far. Lisa's still living, but Balkan is so down low. He's gone. There's no smite still on the cards. Forget the Baron. It's the dance. But all they wanted was the team fight. And now they are getting excited. And for good reason, too. They found 3 crucial picks to run this one down and have 30 seconds to decide, can we end?
Yeah, I mean, Lisa's also got beats on this Lulu to shield him as he tanks the turret. There is a single cannon, so they have to get in here and physically tank it themselves. Inhibitor is a certainty. 3 people alive means it's not going to be the game end. They will just do the safe thing and disengage. Baron's still well and truly on the cards. MVP is that cannon minion right there. Oh, that was close to not being an inhibitor. The cannon saves the day. And no teleports other than the Yone to actually get a big flank off. He just used his stopwatch. Magician to survive, by the way, and still somehow keep his flash. That's kind of insane. Nevertheless, no chance to win that team fight.
So hard for them to wrestle back any form of control, especially when they aren't the ones deployed in the river first. You saw it. There is no bit of explanation I need to tell you. Let the visuals speak for themselves, and our PGG are terrified about contesting this one.
Yeah, nah, run away. Corki's got a package. It's all over. Baron is theirs if they want it. You've got 60 seconds of just being the most afraid people in League of Legends. And it's a 1-1-5 Corki. Can we just take a second to really discuss how broken Corki is for a second and how it should be banned? You're seeing exactly why. They're playing it well, right? They just played calm, measured League of Legends. They played super slow. It was patient. One could say boring. That was me. I was the one. However, it's so strong.
Yeah, and it's a smart from Peace, right? They're not allowing PGG to have the freedom just to buy things out. The package, more a threat than anything. But the Baron is secured here at 32 minutes into the game. Winterer could not split push. He burnt the TP prior. And they were forced to watch from the announcement board to see that that Baron's gone. And now you now have 3 crucial minutes to defend their base.
going to be a tough 3 as well. This Dragon should just be a free objective. I mean, to be honest, if you're Peace, you should be playing for the bot wave first, Dragon second, I feel like. Your goal is to get the waves crashing now with the supers that are start to build in mid. And the Drake provides you nothing. It'd be probably a good idea to put Baron buff on that wave. They want the fight, I guess. They want the harass. They want the poke. Appy's too scary.
Not willing to risk getting picked apart here. The lanes are passively pushing even without the Baron buff assistance. Stay strong, stay grouped up. Deny another soul point here for PGG.
Jhin is literally top lane right now. There's no reason to come and hit the Dragon. Just push bottom. You have red side jungle control if you staunch it right now. You can see the Jhin then. There we go.
Will this game ever get to a soul point, or is that a distant afterthought? I suppose this wave, this push, this buff will answer all those questions in just a second. Turret's gone, rocket misses, but the damage has been felt in very different ways. The base is crumbling.
Okay, that's half health on a Jinx. You can look at the Rel on the angle. He wants the deepest flank, flash in hand.
Yep.
It's desperate if they go, but what choice do you have? They're grouped.
Looking for it, Rogue, flash, Magnet Storm, cast, hits nothing. Here they go, looking
Yuri.
for it! The biggest fate sealed! Yuri dies! He's got the GA though. Has he done enough to salvage this fight? Look at all the resurrections. Look at all the chances to try and reset this fight with a 10-point PGG! The shutdown, all importantly, once again, Yuri is a beast!
Jeez, Yuri comes up so large. You can't undervalue the damage Belkan did in that fight as well. The early executions, Praetor applying the DPS, but it's Rogue, it's Yuri. It's the front line from the side of PGG that clutch it out. Huge. Keep them in this game because that was GG. One error there and the game's over. Look at the damage that the carries did across the board here from Pentanet.gg. 4,490 was the lowest. They go huge.
Absolutely blasting. Let's run this one back because that was beautiful.
Rogue hits, I believe, 3 people with the engage. It's just Beats and Chaeyoung that are outside of them. But the poke had hit prior. Yuri just smashes them. He finds the mark, finds the carry he's after. Beats used exhaust on that Yone as he died back into the GA and went back with his E. And Praetor literally untouched. Sitting in melee range, you cannot stop him from dealing damage. The best team fight, best case scenario for Pentanet.gg that you could possibly hope for. And exactly what they needed Skibby to stay in this game. They're still 1,000 down, 2,000 down after that. But they've got a meaningful chance if they could team fight like that again.
We said, you know, those next 3 minutes were going to be absolutely vital. They raised themselves to that occasion. So it's not over yet. It will not go quietly into the night. And these games between these two orgs have always been so spicy, ever so long. There is always drama. And it will always go late.
It's just written in the scriptures, isn't it, when these two teams play each other? You've got to have a banger. No exception this time around. It was slow to start, Skimmy, wasn't it? But we've got the game that we're after by the end here. Still Peace in the driver's seat. Still Peace, you would say, with the winning team composition right now. They've scaled up to be terrifying. Summoners were used in that last fight, so things still very difficult for Pentanet.gg. However, the closer that Peace get to pushing in, the more flank angles that are provided to them. Belkan is caught. There's a teleport.
Belkan, instant teleport, as you say, but he's gone. They have no Nidalee. Down for 50 seconds. Rogue goes golden as well. Winter a 1v4. Where's the backup Sterx's spot? Look how chilling he's getting with the Gore Drinker. But not enough to survive all that pressure. Yuri goes in once again. But he can't replicate the montage like last time. Jinx is broken. The arcane buff is really truly online. Trying to mirror that of the pain and punishment that this Corki can deliver. And that is a triple.
And there's only 2 minions here, so they're not going to be able to push right now. Chaeyoung, you could see he really wanted to. Tian's recall gets stopped, so no teleport to come in from him, but it's the next wave where Peace is saying we're going to end the game. There's a bloody Corki package.
Oh no.
Best of luck to Rogue and Praetor. They're going to need a miracle. They want to even stay alive. Nearly in 5 seconds is your only hope to do something, but it should just be game. We'll see.
It's a bot lane and a drain. Flash, body slam, cast, Praetor served on a silver platter. You're going to come out from the golden stasis, but you're going to be presented with a grey screen. Balkan respawns, but he dies all the same. And Peace, in their first outing, take down PGG.
And a huge win from Peace at that. It was calm, it was measured from go to woe. They looked like they were the team in control from the very first moment. You could see the excitement from the Peace boys as well. It's the first week of the split. It's the first week of the season for these guys. They still need new chairs, Skimmy. Somehow they've got a gaming house and 7-year-old chairs, but they still have the mechanics. And the chairs don't determine the mechanics. And they'll take down Pentanet.gg. One of the 2 super teams, Skibby, that we had finishing top 2 already.
And that's such a huge statement from Peace to say, well, these are the questions that we're asking. Violet is gone. What do they look like now? What is their identity? How do they play? And can they, most importantly, retain that championship of last year? Well, there you go. You see a game which goes the distance, a clear game plan. We're going to scale, and if you let us get there, we will just win. That game had it all. Mechanics, outplays, montages, and most importantly, Mac, which we can welcome back to save my voice, but let you carry on with what you found so exciting about that game.
Yeah, look, I definitely thought that the game was going to last a little bit longer. I was thinking, after that 34-minute fight, there was a 4k gold swing back. He still had that little bit of an edge by about 1k after it. But it looked like, okay, all right, PGG, they've got something going for us here. But look, leading up to that, you guys mentioned it, Peace were just waiting to scale, waiting to make all the right moves. This one in particular, where Tian managed not only to survive with like half HP, Appy rotating in, zoning the hell out of him with the package, and then just popping off. Peace, their rotations all game were on point, even though for a while there it did look like PGG had the tempo.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, Peace playing it correctly through so many different parts of this game. A couple of little errors early. You could still see the makings of good moves from PGG playing for top advantages, you know, but at the end of the day, the more time that passed, the more strength that you were going to see from a Jinx, from a Corki. You said it from draft phase, right? You see it come to fruition here. That one blip that you're talking about, Mac, the funny thing is, they really needed 5 more minutes before they could do it again. Because every summoner spell was used, and you can't really get those angles without the Rel flash, without the Guardian Angel from the Yone. So really tough, and the pressure from Peace just too much.
Well, it was interesting because you saw a couple of those other fights, like namely that one that was over near the Baron, where they decided just to disengage from Baron and go after the fight and go for the mid inhib instead. That looked like none of Peace took like any damage. Is that just like all the mitigation coming through from Lulu? Because like Praetor, he was dishing out damage, especially in that final fight, or second last fight. But every other time was just like mispositioning. Like what went wrong there for PGG Skin?
Oh, it's hard to say. I mean, you look at them trying to punish Gragas top side. They put a lot of investment in towards Winter to make sure that the Nidalee Renekton pairing worked wonders. And whilst it was very strong at the start of the game, it really got nullified a whole bunch. They got 1 kill on him, but after that fact, you're trying to take him down, and he's just too tanky. He is just far too tanky. We saw back-to-back skirmishes where they all end on him, backed up by the boys. TPs come on through, and they just have more damage, easier chance of executing. And most importantly, I think for me, Peace just... They bought time. They knew how to buy time, but not lose too much for it. And, I mean, you get rewarded.
Yeah, that's it. And look, under the guise of Midlord, of course, they had all their win conditions on a silver platter, and they played to them. They won. That's what you got to do. Now, we do have Kitty to bring back into the conversation, and I believe you've got a winner down on the sidelines for the winner's interview.
Yeah, so I've grabbed Cheon from Peace, filling in Violet's shoes. Hello, Cheon.
Hello, can you hear me? Yeah. Hello,
Yeah, I can hear you. Hello, hello.
Oh, yeah, okay. Hello, hello, I'm Cham.
So, how are you feeling after that close game?
I'm feeling very well because I was very nervous before we play a game, but I think PGG is a strong team, and thanks to my teammate, they just support me, try to do a lot of things, teach me a lot of things. So yeah, that's it.
I mean, it's always nice to see a new face on PCE, especially with your performance on Jinx. So, I'm gonna bring up a tweet that I saw from TN. Quote, Cheon is the best looking ADC IRL and in the game. How are you feeling? Confident? You look pretty confident on the hyper carries. What are your thoughts on the bot lane meta?
I think it's not really good for me to like play on a bot now, and so we just improve myself and try hard to get it the best on the thing. Yeah.
It's always good to have those type of mindsets. Well, congrats on the win for PC, and thank you for the interview. Let's head back to Mac.
Thank you. Thank you.
My favorite part of the interview was when Cheon said, "Hello, I'm Cheon," and I was like, "Yep, it's all over the stream." So good interview coming through there. And I just want to know, Kitty, how do you be the best looking ADC in game? Do you just keep picking all the cute champs? Like, what's the strat there?
I guess he meant best looking performance AD carry is what TN meant.
Yep, no, that would make sense. That one whooshed me, sorry. But we are back, of course. And we do have a player of the game to bring us back on track. And that player of the game for the final game of the day was your boy Lisa, rumbling it up in the jungle and doing a very good job up against, someone that we... What?
8% damage share is worse than the average support player's stats. That's so funny to me.
Well, what I'm doing, I've got my hand on my monitor and I've actually just covered up that stat. But the rest, they look pretty good, don't they? Don't they, Skewy?
I mean, they do, don't they?
Yeah.
Definitely you're going to be looking and saying, oh, look at the Jinx and look at the Corki. How fantastic are they? But Lisa, the real engine, getting them across into a position where they can feel so strong. And so many of his objectives went their way. And it's great to see him back in the starting lineup. You know, he spent the whole of last year on this Peace roster, having to play as a sub, no doubt having a very active role in scrimming and practicing and all the rest of it. So he's got his chance to impress again, much like Cheon, and he's excelling.
He did such a good job. And look, it's not all about the damage sent out.
Right,
sometimes it's about the damage taken. Think about how much he mitigated on a lot of those pushes.
Okay. Let me finish my point here.
Yep.
I want to know how much damage percentage the Corki and the Jinx did. Because I suspect that if a Lee Sin is somehow as low as 8%, then we're looking at some monster numbers from Appy and mid lane. So if there's a way that we can find out the damage percentage from Corki, I have a feeling that we're getting into the 50s, which is unreasonable.
Okay, I'd love to see that. I've asked for them down behind the scenes, so hopefully we can get those as we are going to be moving forward. Now, I hope you haven't looked at the Discord because...
just did.
Well, you don't get to guess. So there's a play of the day, all right? And if anyone else looked at it, don't guess. Skimmy, I'm trusting you. You didn't look, did you?
No. So my play today, there were two that I had written down. My first one was at the start of the day with the bot lane dive on Puma, where he survives, or doesn't really survive, but managed to pick up a double kill 4-man, which is pretty crazy. Otherwise, probably that Yuri ult at the end, which was pretty insane. That could have maybe saved the game for PGG. Both of those moments for me stand out. Okay.
Well, I think it was roughly around that area. Kitty, did you spoil the play of the game for yourself?
I did ask about what time Rogue's 3-man ulti for that comeback was.
Okay.
Apparently it was 33.50, around that time. So I'm assuming that's the play of the game.
Well, you've assumed correctly because that was the play of the day. It was your boy Rogue with the 3-man engage down in the bot lane, trying to save the day for PGG. But it wasn't quite enough. Yes, it got the ace. Yes, it started things off here with the huge follow-up coming through. And Skimmy, I know Jubes is in chat, and you and him used to be like tight, right? So,
yeah.
How's your throat? Is it okay?
Look, I feel like I've just casted a grand final.
Yeah.
I was shouting. I tell you what, I was getting very hyped in that game.
Okay. Well, Kitty, are you... See, no one's feeling it. I miss Juice. I'm sorry, I miss Juice. But look, I'll tell you who doesn't miss Rogue. That man hitting things off and doing a very good job. He was playing from a deficit, by the way. I think at like the 24-minute mark or something like that, or 20-minute mark. He was only level 7.
Oh, dude,
Like,
Rogue was
he
in the
was
bin.
way behind in levels, but still managed to find some impact. So I feel like that's pretty good, isn't it, Rusty?
I mean, it's what you need to do, right? So deficit, lead, you tend to fall behind as a support. He really struggled. I think it's that early skirmish put him so far behind he had to reset, and Rel just kind of limps away sorely, and he just kind of continued to fall behind, but did what he had to do. Unfortunately, just wasn't enough to win the game, though. He's too strong.
Definitely not. Now, we do have a change up in the standings after how everything has played out today. But before we jump on into that graphic, of course, we got that damage share that you're asking for.
We got
it. Appy did manage to get 40% damage share, and Cheon had 32%. So together, that's 72% of the damage there for Peace, Rusty. Are you happy with that number?
I mean, I'm pretty happy with that number. I feel like there's a bit of inflated damage percentage from McGregor's hitting a Renekton. They both just heal it all up. So hard to say. I would imagine a bulk of that rest of that percentage is belonging to a certain tank top later.
Yeah, but
yeah,
he did a very good. He played his role. He did so much, drew a lot of attention, and tanked a huge amount of damage. So that's what he needed to do, and it got Peace across the line. So look, you can't fault him. And I think I saw a lot of people saying LCK versus LPL in chat, and looks like I think LPL came out on top, right?
Yeah, kind of. It's weird because the draft swapped. So the LPL-inspired team of Peace played the LCK style, right? Now it's scaled where the LPL draft played by PGG with the Koreans actually got outscaled. So a little bit hard to say that one.
So topsy-turvy, topsy-turvy. Now let's bring up the standings and see where all the teams are currently sitting at the end of day 2 of games. And we have 2 outright top of the table teams right now. That's Peace and the Chiefs. Coming in third, you got 4 teams at the moment. Dire Wolves, Pentanet, Order, and Kanga, all with 1 W and 1 L. And then at the bottom, Gravitas and Mammoth still winless after the first week of games here in the LCO. Kitty, is there anything odd here? Are you thinking, wow, Pentanet's not at the top of the table? Is that surprising to you?
No, because I'm obviously Peace biased, so I am happy at what I'm seeing. A 2-0 from the boys, so let's fucking go. Oh, no.
Hey, she's too hyped. She's too happy.
We had one allowance. We've had one allowance for the weekend.
Welcome to the broadcast
Welcome
world.
to the broadcast. And
You've been
are
inducted.
officially initiated. Congratulations. So, just give me any thoughts on the standings where they currently are.
Oh, just really, really exciting, right, to see that Peace can wrestle with the best. You know, there's a lot of questions, as we said, coming into this one. Have they stayed the strongest team? Have they retained it? Well, here's your answer so far. The Chiefs, all the hype around them, it's looking really good. But when will their biggest test really be found? I mean, they've obviously got tested against Order, but it looks like it's going to be a few weeks until they wrestle with the best, like Peace and Pentanet too. So I'm excited to see how their performances continue. But yeah, middle of the pack. You're looking at the teams like Kanga and Order to see exactly where they'll finish up, because right now 1-1 feels pretty modest.
Yeah, it's like the top 6. Who knows where they're going to end up at the, I guess in the next couple of weeks. However, speaking of the next couple of weeks, let's have a look at what game day number 3 is going to have in store for us. And starting at 6 p.m, Kanga up against Order. That'll separate the table a little bit more. Peace, after this performance, they're looking like the favorites at 7 p.m, going up against the Dire Wolves. Chiefs and Gravitas going head-to-head. So Chiefs having a relatively easy-looking start to their split, as well as 9 p.m, Pentanet and Mammoth looking to go head-to-head. So we'll see if Mammoth can pull the unthinkable and maybe try to turn that one on its head, or if Pentanet are just going to whomp all over him. But look, that being said, Gravitas and Mammoth, they've had pretty difficult starts to the split. But I guess the question is, like, when's that going to end? Like, they're going to be tested continually if the question is, those top 6, like, where are they going to end up? Because you're putting them pretty close to one another, yet there still looks like there's big gaps. Like, I don't know, Rusty. Please tell me what you think Mammoth and Gravitas can do. Like, what is their goal, you reckon? Like, looking like 5 wins through the split, like going towards 10? What do you reckon they're looking for?
I don't think that they have the privilege of aiming for a win count through the split, to put it simply. I don't want that to sound savage. I just want that to be a reality.
Okay.
You're not approaching every week saying we're going to win. You're approaching every week saying we're improving X or Y thing, right? We're trying to improve those so that we can win, because that's our ultimate goal, is to not just beat Mammoth if I'm Gravitas. Not to just beat Gravitas if I'm Mammoth, but to continue to shake the league and play for the end of the year. And I know that it's probably too far away to say that right now, but early spot check, they're not playing for this split based off what we've seen so far. They're playing for split 2 already.
Okay, yeah, I could agree with that. It's like they're not shooting for the stars. They're not going too over the top with it. They're just here to learn,
They got to
here to
build a
have a good
spaceship
time.
first, man.
Exactly. They've got to get all the pieces. You look, if they haven't mined any metal, then they're not going to be able to make a spaceship, right? Like that's what spaceship's made out of, I think.
Sure,
anyway,
it'll do.
OPGGs, they're made of metal as well. Colors, bloody bronze, gold. I don't know, wherever you sit. The ranked system.
Yeah.
Let's bring it up. Let's have a look at this new OP.GG from the fans. You guys, you've given us the good content.
Oh.
And it's the big man, Carbon, coming in. And here we go. Ignore my name change. Okay, well, I can't even see the name.
Okay, I can see the name. I'm gonna cover this one. Kitty, can you tell us about this OPGG first?
So that is a lot of red, a very solid color of red, including the win rates and the match history. But, you know, I can see some improvement. Although you may have had a rough start of the season, 46% win rate, you can still turn it back and get to that 50% win rate, mate.
Would you say they're a Karthus abuser?
Yes.
Yeah, so Juves is definitely a Karthus abuser, and he should be ashamed because he's losing on every other champion.
What is this, Juves?
It's
Is it?
Juves.
Okay, I was looking and I'm like, I can literally see Carbon's name in some of the other games, and I was thinking like, what's going on?
Yeah. No, so this is Juves' account. I just wanted to really let that one simmer first. He's absolutely struggling lately. I feel for him. I also saw a tweet from him saying that he's going to switch to being a Veigar main along the lines of it being too easy, and he's still not 50% win rate on that one. So my genuine advice, Juves, is stick to abusing Karthus because it works and you'll climb high enough to be able to play other champions again. You're not that bad, mate. You're not
And
that
look,
bad.
to be honest, the man Juves doesn't actually need to play the game anymore because he's a coach. He just has to watch it and know everything about it. It doesn't mean your mechanics have to be on point. Look, case in point, me, I know heaps of stuff about the game and I'm bronze. But for not much longer, because we're climbing. We're getting there. We're going to be silver again soon. And then I'll have everyone's respect, won't I?
You will.
Help me.
Of course you will.
You will.
Oh, well, that's... look, and if there's anyone on the desk that is, you know, killing it at the moment, it's Kitty, right? Are you challenger yet? You almost there, this split?
Well, I've been struggling a bit. I'm at 49% win rate, but I am at around 300 LP Grandmaster. So, yeah, I've been abusing that Sona, so get on the train.
That's gross.
Yes.
Oh.
That's why we want to see some Sona, right? I'm keen to see it in competitive.
Well, there you go. Kitty's hot tips at climbing. Just abuse Sona. And hopefully you guys can gain yourself some LP between now and next week, because that's us done for the first week back here, 2022, on the LCO. We will see you next week with those big games you saw on the schedule before.
The zap afterwards. Chrono Shift comes out nice and early. Going to Gale falls in for the execute in a 1v4 situation. Flash away underneath the tower. Thomas Shen connects. Oh, baited by the summoner here. He turns it around and gets the kill. Trank Proc is there. He's done that a little bit too long. He somehow defied death when it really should not have happened. He's found himself a double kill from the grave. Order say we've had enough.
Settle.
Our comp was built to do this. Out comes the showstopper. A chance of some form of revenge. Can we get ourselves a kill? We've got 4 so far. Can we find more? Up drops the TK. But he's realised I'm surrounded by far too many members. Out comes the Devour. Bear in mind, this is not 12.2, so there isn't an extra boost of movement speed just yet. So he is still lagging behind and falling on down. Can Ray survive? He cannot. It's a consolation prize. And that is a huge shutdown. They're hunting for the ace. They are hunting for that.
Hard to say that they're going to actively contest the Herald yet. The junglers.
Only looking for it. A blast code is there if they ever so need it. Doesn't have to burn the flash just yet. Ornol comes out, knocks up one. Shredder's he flashed out. He can now dash back on in. Looking for it. Chungy flashing more than the never grasp. You can hit the hexagon and made him, but you're not escaping. A flash away. Oh, Super Mega Death Rocket does not connect. From downtown in the bot lane, it could have been huge, but only, which is what they really, really need. But how much do they do in the meantime? Great Gale falls away to prevent the insect. Rogue might be the one that falls on down for it, locks him in place. Prater for Bassett, that fourth and final shot, but just getting right-clicked and zapped and ulti.